Ginger?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I think there's a little feedback.
That's the
Okay, are we good? Okay, thank you. Our high school student government representative for the last time, Christian?
Hi, everyone. So for those of you who may not know me, my name is Christian Lamantia, and I am the Student Government Representative to the Board of Education. Now, with seniors officially alumni of POB JFK and underclassmen finishing the 2020-2021 school year, this will be my last report to the board. First, I would like to highlight our truly wonderful prom and graduation ceremonies. The seniors had the opportunity to eat, dance, and spend prom night the way that it should be spent. Our district's prom was not only safe, but truly a night to remember. Even with social distancing, our graduation ceremony felt as special as ever, with age-old traditions being honored and normalcy being returned to POB. Next, I would like to thank POB's administration for allowing me the opportunity to speak directly to the Board of Education and community members each week. I have learned so much about public speaking, and I've seen firsthand the power that advocacy brings to the citizens of Plainview-Bethpage. Having been a member of the student government since 5th grade and Board of Education representative since 6th, I've observed a few things that I think POB should remember moving forward. One, the best part of this district is the way that the student government has had open lines of communication to the Board of Education throughout our most trying times. I request that the board continue to do what we have established in this past year especially, and continue to seek the opinions of student representatives whenever possible. Two, I would also ask that both the central and building administration continue to have trust in the student government to make decisions about student events at POB JFK. Just as we have always done, the student government must continue to play a larger role in planning events that we will remember for a lifetime. I believe that the best events are the ones designed by the students themselves. With the more autonomy and input, the better. Three, and finally, I believe that there is something to be said about this position itself, representative to the Board of Education. I've had such a privilege to communicate with such influential leaders such as yourselves, and I hope the next Board of Education representative will take the initiative to engage board members about the issues discussed in these very meetings. Thank you very much for contributing so much to the community that I love so much, and for allowing me a place to grow as a leader and advocate for my community. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Christian. And thank you for being such a wonderful Board of Ed rep, and good luck at the University of Miami.
Thank you.
And now board announcements. Gary?
Yes, very, very proud to announce that we had two National Merit Scholarship winners, $2,500 scholarships to the district. There were 43 on Long Island, so we were two of them. So way to go, about 5% of the total. And that is Elijah Blum and Brian Lee. So congratulations to you, all your teachers and everyone in the community who helped make that possible.
Thank you. Seth?
I wanted to recognize and congratulate Emily Howell, who has been honored who received a Scholar Artist Award from the Long Island Arts Alliance, and was recognized in today's Newsday. So congratulations to Emily and her family.
Thank you. Anybody else? I have a few, so bear with me. First, on behalf of the board, I would like to thank our entire staff for all you have done for our students during this very difficult year. I'd also like to thank PTA and all parents who've partnered with us to make this year as successful as possible. We wish you all a relaxing and enjoyable summer and look forward to seeing you in September. And then I've been busy, as many of my fellow board members have, attending some really exciting things, some of which Christian spoke about briefly. At We attended the high school graduation last Tuesday. I wanted to thank Mr. Murray and our assistant principals and staff for such an outstanding graduation. This year's graduation was at Hofstra, so a little different than our usual graduation at the Tiller Center. But we were really fortunate that although threatening to rain at 10 o'clock as the ceremony began, the sun was out and shining on our graduates. Our student speakers represented their classmates very well, and I'd like to, on behalf of the board, congratulate the class of 2021. We are proud of all that you have accomplished and look forward to hearing about all that you will accomplish in the future. I also had the pleasure of remotely attending the Thespian Honor Society induction, where we were treated to numerous performances by our very talented students. We were also able to enjoy a look back at the last 4 years of performances for our graduating seniors. I'd like to congratulate all of our new inductees and officers and thank Mr. Olivari and Lee Olivari for all that they do for our club and for such an enjoyable evening. And I'd like to wish our graduating seniors, thespians, good luck. Some of us also attended, it's been a busy week, the car parade last week, a tradition begun last year at the beginning of the pandemic. Thank you again to high school administration and staff who participated and to all the high school parents who always advocate for our students and together with administration made this happen. And finally, on Friday, some of us had the pleasure of attending the PTA president's outgoing luncheon. I'd like to congratulate all of the outgoing presidents for all of your hard work sitting on our committees, working alongside our building administrators and partnering with us to make POB better. And good luck to all of the incoming PTA presidents. We look forward to getting to know and work with you. And then our superintendent announcements.
Good evening, everybody. It has been a busy 2 weeks. I've been to all the same places that Debbie has been. But I have to tell you, the one thing that really shines through is that we do feel like it's getting back to normal. We also, you left something off of your dance card. We went to the Senior Citizen Barbecue. And it was so wonderful to see over 100 senior citizens enjoying a meal together, listening to music. Our music director serenaded them with a Frank Sinatra tune. But going through all of these and looking forward to the moving up ceremonies that will happen this week with our 4th and 8th graders, it is clear that we really were able to stay intact as a community. And our high school graduation really was just the capstone of a wonderful year, although extremely challenging year. And I would encourage anyone watching tonight to just go back to the high school's graduation and watch our 4 students' speeches, because you will get a flavor for what POB promises all the students. They truly emulated the profile of a graduate. They truly showed how their advocacy benefited their entire class and others. And they just showed just the poise and articulate nature all of them have developed through their years here at POB schools. So job well done, seniors. It's really hard watching Christians to say goodbye. They really have been partners with us. And again, with the PTA, your outgoing luncheon was greatly appreciated. So was our staff appreciation lunch for central office that you provided all of us. It gave an opportunity for all of us who've been holed up in different corners of this building to come together at the atrium. And, you know, our staff really appreciated being recognized as some of the hardest workers during this pandemic, the real quiet workers behind a lot that gets done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bernstein. You know, every graduation season has people that graduate from many parts of their lives and move on to the next chapters, and today is no different. We have teachers, teacher aides, buildings and grounds, custodians, clericals, occupational therapists, and administrators who will be recognized tonight on the event of their retirement from the Plainview Old Bethpage schools. And we wish them well in their futures, but you have to remember that they've provided years and years of service to us that are just unimaginable memories for them and our kids. And when you go back to any reunions, you see those kids, now adults, talking about their experiences with teachers and administrators and building aides and clericals and OTs and PTs and everything. And you really get a flavor for the thousands and thousands of lives that these people have positively impacted. And that's what we're going to celebrate tonight in our tribute video for each of our retirees. They've been a fantastic employee, each and every one of them, and they deserve all the kudos for the effort and work that they've done over the years for the Plainview Bethpage School District and the individual buildings. It is always a happy but sad moment to see them go, but we know that they'll be back. We know that they'll be around. Some may even come back subbing for us. Nina, you got that? And others will join us for other events and occasions. So we wish them well in their retirement. And Eddie, let's begin the video.
Gerard Campanelli began his career as a high school social studies teacher in POB in September of 1990. Shortly after he began, Mr. Campanelli started visiting his colleagues' classrooms to exchange ideas about teaching and learning. By doing so, he gained the respect of his colleagues. He enjoyed a wonderful rapport with his students. He always encouraged them to do their best, and he believed in acknowledging them for their efforts. He is known for sending frequent good job postcards to home when students are deserving of a pat on the back. His lessons were always engaging, and they helped his students to advance their knowledge of the concepts being taught. Mr. Campanelli was always willing to lend a helping hand to any students that were in need. He is well respected by his students and his colleagues. After 31 years of teaching the students in our district, Mr. Campanelli is entering into retirement. We certainly will miss Mr. Campanelli, and we wish him nothing but the best of health, happiness, and luck. Congratulations, Gerard. David Herman began his tenure at POB JFK as a social studies teacher in September of 1994. During his time here, he has always had an excellent rapport with his students on all instructional levels. He provided a secure and nurturing environment in his classrooms and had a pleasant demeanor and sense of humor. In fact, his humor was greatly appreciated by his students, which served to balance his serious approach to teaching. He was always able to engage students, and they were always willing to participate in all aspects of his classes. Mr. Herman communicated frequently with parents, keeping them abreast of their child's performance. Over the years, he chaperoned several events, including Met Monk. He was well respected amongst his colleagues. His good sense of humor, unpretentious attitude, and knowledge of sports always fueled his popularity with his colleagues and students alike. After 27 years of teaching the students in our district, Mr. Herman is entering into retirement. We certainly will miss him, and we wish him nothing but the best of health, happiness, and luck in his retirement. Congratulations, Dave. Rhea Carr has been employed in POB since September of 1997 as a science teacher, working at POB JFK. She has always been a very caring person, one that was sensitive to the needs of her students. She was always sure to point out the positives to her students, and they accepted them well. They were always assured that Miss Carr would be there for them if they ever needed assistance. Miss Carr would reach out to the parents if she felt the need for their assistance in resolving any issues with their student, as well as to praise them for their good work. She communicated very clearly and always enforced high standards of behavior, and through this, she was able to build strong and positive relationships. She gained the respect of her colleagues as well as her peers in a very short time period. She was always willing to help anyone and anywhere it was needed. After 24 years of teaching the students in our district, Ms. Carr is entering into retirement. We'll certainly miss her. Ms. Carr, we wish you nothing but the best of health and happiness in the future. Good luck, Rhea. Stavrula Stephanie Lukatos joined the custodial team at POB JFK in January of 1995. Prior to this, from 1990 through 1994, Mrs. Lukatos assisted in the district as a kitchen helper whenever needed. When Mrs. Lucados began working in the district, she knew very little English, but she did everything in her power to learn the language and soon became an integral part of our staff. Throughout her years here, she has always done an outstanding job in helping to maintain the clean and safe environment that we have grown accustomed to. She is an extremely reliable worker and no task is ever too big for her. She never had to be told what she had to do. Whenever she saw something that had to be done, she just did it. There was never a time that you saw her around the building when she did not have a mop, broom, or dust rag in her hands. She was always considerate of her coworkers and would always pitch in to help them out whenever needed. Mrs. Lucados is very proud of her Greek heritage, and she enjoyed bringing in her delicious homemade food and desserts for all of us to enjoy on countless occasions. There is no doubt we are going to miss her. She has been a very important part of our daily operations for a very long time, and her hard work and dedication will always be remembered. She recently became a grandmother to Michaela Elizabeth, and now she will be able to spend more time with her and her family. After 26 years in POB, she is handing in her POB spray cleaner and rags in exchange for diapers and baby bottles for her granddaughter. We wish Stephanie the best of health, happiness, and luck in her retirement. Kali Tihi, Stephanie. Maria Mertz joined the POB school district in September of 1991 as a science teacher. Throughout her years teaching chemistry and AP biology, to name just a couple, Ms. Mertz has always been dedicated to her students and the delivery of instruction of her subject matter. She enjoyed a good rapport with her students and they liked being in her classes. She set high expectations for them and they strived hard to achieve their goals in her class. Ms. Mertz always presented her lessons clearly, keeping her students fully engaged in each lesson. She gained a sense of pride in the knowledge of her students. Ms. Mertz is well respected by her peers as well as her colleagues. She never hesitated to help others when they needed it. After 30 years of employment in POB, Ms. Mertz is entering into retirement. I wish you, Ms. Mertz, the best of health, happiness, and luck in your new journey. I will certainly miss seeing you in our school, and most especially, laughing with you whenever we would catch up. Congratulations, Maria. Mary Lou O'Donnell has been with this district since December 1996, when she began as a regular substitute science teacher. She began her probationary appointment in September of 1997 at POB JFK, where she has remained until today. During her time here, she has always been a very caring teacher. She developed strong relationships with her students and her families as well. Her students knew that she was always there to assist them in any way she could. POB was well represented when it came to science and engineering fairs under Mrs. O'Donnell's guidance. Mrs. O'Donnell often reached out to interact with mentors from other local universities for the benefit of her students. She attended and chaperoned many field trips, competitions, and science fairs for her students. She also developed and maintained a good relationship with her colleagues and peers throughout her time here. After 25 years of teaching the students in our district, Mrs. O'Donnell is entering into retirement. We will certainly miss her, and we wish her nothing but the best of health, happiness, and luck. Congratulations, Mary Lou. We'll miss you. Maureen Shula has been with the POB school district since January 2001 in her capacity as a special education aide. During her time here, she has always been a dedicated employee and a team player, willing to help out whenever needed. Ms. Shula always welcomed new ideas and methods and never shied away from extra work. She has always been a hardworking, reliable employee. Ms. Shula was always aware of the needs of her students in our testing center, and she did everything she could to take care of them. She worked well during emergency situations, and she seemed to be able to calm our most anxious students. Ms. Shula has always been a valuable member of the special education team, but she has also made many friends throughout the building along the way. After 20 years of working with the students in our district, Ms. Shula is entering into retirement. We will certainly miss her, and we wish her nothing but the best of health, happiness, and luck in her retirement. Congratulations, Maureen. Jane Winekrantz began her career as a teacher of English at POB JFK in September of 1990. Throughout the years, she has always enjoyed close relationships with both her general education and her alternative education students, and now middle school. She felt it most important to address students' social and emotional needs and was a strong advocate for all of them. Her students would seek her out for advice on anything: school, work, college, relationships, etc. She understood their unique life situations and was non-judgmental. Many students would reach out to her for support even after they had graduated. Ms. Weinkrantz remained proactive in her efforts to keep parents and guardians as partners in helping to make their children's successful in school, and as well as to address their social and emotional needs. She encouraged personal choice in assignments whenever possible. She's highly skilled at connecting literature to younger students' lives when applicable. Ms. Weinkrantz has always been a well-respected and supported member of our faculty. After 31 years of teaching the students in our district, Ms. Weinkrantz is entering into retirement. We certainly will miss her, and we wish her nothing but the best of health, happiness, and luck in her next journey. Congratulations, Jane.
Good evening. It is with great pleasure that I join you tonight to speak on behalf of Judy Burke. Ms. Burke is retiring after a 36-year teaching career in the Plainview Bethpage schools. We are joined by Ms. Burke's family and friends tonight. Ms. Burke started her career in the fall of 1985 as a science teacher. Ms. Burke will be remembered for her love of teaching and keen sense of humor. It was a pleasure to have worked with Ms. Burke throughout the last 5 years. Her passion for teaching and dedication for the work that she did was evident every day. This night commemorates the end of a terrific teaching career and the beginning of a new chapter in Ms. Burke's journey. Retirement will undoubtedly leave a void in our school, but in retirement, Ms. Burke looks forward to spending more time with her 2 beautiful grandchildren. She will enjoy her love of the beach, kayaking, hiking, and gardening. Ms. Burke also looks forward to fulfilling her love of travel with her husband and staying fit using her spin bike. Enjoy your well-deserved retirement. The Plainview Bethpage School District has been fortunate to have Ms. Burke as a part of this community. Congratulations to you. We wish you and your family the very best. Good evening. It is with great pleasure that I join you tonight to speak on behalf of Dawn Cardone. Ms. Cardone is retiring after a 36-year career in the Plainview Bethpage schools. We are joined by Ms. Cardone's mom, brother Billy, and sister-in-law Donna. Also joining are Ms. Cardone's nephew, Will, and niece Olivia, and all of our colleagues and friends in our community. Ms. Cardone began her career in the fall of 1985 as a math teacher. Just as another season begins, a new chapter in Ms. Cardone's journey is upon us, and sunsets on a most outstanding teaching career. Since the moment I met Ms. Cardone, I knew how special of a person she was, engaging students in learning in a compassionate way, and truly loved the work she did with students. Ms. Cardone's commitment and purpose was unwavering, and we are all better off for it. To me, I feel personally blessed to know and work with such a kind, passionate, and wonderful person. Ms. Cardone's retirement will undoubtedly leave a void in our school community. But in retirement, she will shift gears, fulfilling her love of scrapbooking, creating greeting cards, and gardening, and growing giant sunflowers. Ms. Cardone is looking forward to a Disney cruise, trips to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and spending time with her dog, Georgie. Ms. Cardone will be remembered in 2 ways: her kindness and humanity. The children of Matlin will miss you, and some will never have the joy to be a student in your class. I leave you with this thought: enjoy your well-deserved retirement. The Plainview Bethpage School District has been fortunate to have Ms. Cardone as a part of this community. Congratulations and best wishes to Ms. Cardone. Good evening. It is with great pleasure that I join you tonight to speak on behalf of Dave Cirillo, security guard at Matlin Middle School. Mr. Cirillo is retiring after joining the Plainview Bethpage schools in 2002. We are joined by Mr. Cirillo's family and friends and our POB community. Dave was moved to become a security guard at POB just so he can serve as a helping hand. He started out doing overnights, doing security on voting days, and then moved on to Pasadena. In his last few years, he has been at Matlin Middle School. Dave is a special person who loves his work and does it with purpose, and at the same time, bringing some levity. Dave will be missed at Matlin for his sense of humor and for his storytelling. It was a pleasure working with Dave, and we were fortunate to get to know you and work with such a kind person. Dave, you will be missed, but I am sure you will enjoy your retirement in Anastasia Island in St. Augustine, Florida. I am sure your feet will be firmly grounded to the sand as you enjoy surfing, volunteering to save the ocean, and grow your own produce. You will be missed at Matlin, but I wish you the very best in retirement. The Plainview Old Bethpage School District has been fortunate to have you as part of this community. Congratulations and best wishes. Good evening. It is with great pleasure that I join you tonight to speak on behalf of Carol Worth, Special Education Aide at Matlin. Carol is retiring after joining the Plainview Old Bethpage Schools in 1997. We are joined tonight by Carol's daughter Alyssa, friends, and our POB community. Carol was inspired to work for POB so she can serve in helping teachers meet the needs of special education students. Carol started her career at POB and most recently as a special education aide in Pasadena. Carol always has been dedicated to her students and always offered a helping hand around the building. In her final year, Carol transitioned over to Matlin Middle School, and she has been grateful to work with her students. It was a pleasure working with you, Carol, and we were fortunate to get to know you this school year. Carol hopes to resume her love of walking and enjoying life into the golden years being stress-free. We wish you the very best in retirement. The Plainview Old Bethpage Schools, thank you for your years of service. Congratulations and best wishes.
Mrs. Amy Agostino has served as the principal's secretary at POB Middle School since 2004. In that role, she has trained 3 principals, making sure they each got where they needed to go with the materials that they needed, which is not an easy task. Amy has faithfully coordinated important tasks that keep the school running, such as graduation and payroll, and she greets everyone she meets with a warm smile. No matter where she finds her office, be it in guidance, across from the safe, or at the front of the building, Amy smiles and says, "No problem." Amy, as you take this next step and move into retirement, we wish you well. We will miss you, but know that you will enjoy all of the extra time that you will have with your children and 2 beautiful granddaughters. Congratulations, Amy. Mrs. Lori Charletta has served Plainview Old Bethpage Middle School as a special education teacher since 1987. A kind and compassionate free spirit, Mrs. Charletta has spent her career supporting students creatively and lovingly. Fittingly, Mrs. Charletta spent years leading the POB Middle School Sunshine Committee and continues to bring sunshine into every classroom meeting and interaction she has with everyone. Mrs. Charletta's roots in POB go back to her own childhood, as she is an alumnus of the district. Her commitment to POB and to her students and families is evident in all she does. Over her distinguished career, Mrs. Charletta has shown care and concern for each of her students and their families, and developed strong relationships that often last a lifetime. She knows POB Middle School inside and out and can be counted on to be an historian for all. Throughout the years, Mrs. Charletta has consistently stepped up and supported many of the extracurricular programs that define the POB Middle School experience. For example, Mrs. Charletta has chaperoned each of the 8th grade trips to Boston, where she has become an integral part of the team. As a seasoned member of our STEPS team, Mrs. Charletta's contributions have supported the successes of many of our students who have gone on to succeed at the middle, high school, and college levels. An educator who has devoted her career to bringing peace and love to each of the special students in her care, Mrs. Charletta will be missed by everyone who has worked with her. Congratulations, Lori, on your retirement, and we hope that you have a wonderful time. Mary Clinton began her time at POB Middle School in 2003. Over the 18 years that Mary has spent at POB Middle School, she has made a lasting impression on everyone she meets. For years, Mary ran our copy room, otherwise known as Mary's Bar and Grill, where faculty and staff often pulled up a stool while copies were made and got free and excellent advice on life and, of course, on shoes. Mary's shoe collection rivals the likes of Imelda Marcos. More recently, Mary and her fancy feet have been found greeting everyone who enters POB Middle School. Mary manages our front door, where she wishes everyone a good morning, has in years past been entrusted with forgotten lunches, instruments, sports equipment, glasses, homework, Chromebooks, you name it, someone has asked her to hold on to it. This year, Mary's voice has been heard every day, leading our building's recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. A loyal friend to those lucky enough to know her, Mary Clinton, we will miss you. I, for one, will miss singing Mary, Mary, why you buggin' to you each day. Enjoy this next chapter in your life. Congratulations. Diane Festante has been a special education aide at POB Middle School since 2007. All of us know that Diane takes advantage of every spare minute she has to teach our students how to be kinder to each other in the hallways and to brighten all of our days with an encouraging comment. Sometimes, when teachers or students walk down the hall to the restroom or a class, they see talking with Diane as an opportunity to catch a quick breath, take a break, and get rejuvenated. We will miss the extra pat on the back that Diane gives to each of us. In the classroom, Diane has always been available to help students to find success. Many times, you can find Diane in the middle of small groups of students, giving them the extra help that they need. Diane was the sounding board for many of the students that she worked with and a resource they could go to. Diane, you will be missed by all of us at POB Middle School, and we wish you a happy, healthy retirement that is filled with love and family. Mrs. Yardana Goldstein, 5th grade teacher at POB Middle School, has faithfully served the POB school district since 1990. A community member whose children were educated in POB, Mrs. Goldstein has consistently provided her students with learning experiences that are rich, rigorous, and rewarding. As Mrs. Goldstein is a world traveler, she often brings her experiences from around the globe into instruction, teaching her students about the experiences of children from all over the world. She is a dedicated teacher who holds high standards for her students and supports them as they learn and grow as new middle school students. When you walk into Mrs. Goldstein's classroom, you are sure to find students busy learning about math, science, and the world around them. As a colleague, Mrs. Goldstein is reliable and helpful. She has mentored many of the teachers at POB and is always willing to lend a helping hand to those around her. This year, Mrs. Goldstein proved yet again just how much of a professional educator she is, as she adeptly taught both in-person and remote students, providing every one of her students with her world-class instruction. Always a team player, Mrs. Goldstein will be missed at Plainview Old Bethpage Middle School. Yardana, congratulations on your retirement, and may your adventures and global travels be many and illustrious. Mr. John Iorio, 6th grade teacher at Plainview Old Bethpage Middle School, has served the district since 1990. Throughout his career, Mr. Iorio has been a loyal colleague, friend, and teacher to every member of the POB Middle School community. Always a gentleman, Mr. Iorio models the behaviors he wishes to develop in his students. His classroom is beautifully decorated with memorabilia from his favorite sports teams, historical paraphernalia, and motivational quotes. With Mr. Iorio as a team member, the POB Middle School 6th graders take part in experiences that create memories for a lifetime, including the famous 6th grade Greek Olympics the POB GOB, and a fan favorite, the Sarcophagus Project. Mr. Iorio is a champion for kids and has consistently created opportunities for students to learn academics as well as social skills that build their character. To that end, he has led the charge in fundraising efforts for groups such as the Smile Train and the Fiverr Children's Foundation. His commitment and dedication have undoubtedly changed the course of his students' lives. We will all miss Mr. Iorio's warm smile and kind heart. We wish you all the health, wealth, and happiness in a long retirement. Congratulations, John. Sue Liosa has been a cafeteria and rec aide at POB Middle School since 2010. Sue is not only an amazing support to our students, but she is also a great colleague and friend. If you were ever at school right before lunch periods and you needed someone to help brainstorm ideas about organizing students or keeping students entertained, Sue is your person. She is a ray of sunshine that can take any day and make it brighter. Throughout the unique year that we all just lived through, Sue was a huge asset with making sure that lunches were delivered to our 5th and 6th grade students and that school took on a normal routine for these students. Sue became an advocate for the students that she stayed with at lunchtime and made sure that their classrooms became a place where they could laugh and have fun. Sue created a warm and nurturing environment for all the students in her care. Sue, you will be missed by all of us at POB Middle School, and we wish you a wonderful, fun-filled retirement that you can enjoy with your family and loved ones. Mr. Jeff Rothman has been a physical education teacher and coach in the POB School District since 1988. But what's more, Mr. Rothman grew up and attended POB schools as a child and is a community member whose own children have been and are being educated in the district. Clearly, Mr. Rothman loves his hometown and has dedicated his life and career to Plainview Old Bethpage. Throughout his career, Mr. Rothman has coached just about every sport on every level and made his mark in athletics at POB. His love for sports, fitness, education, and children are obvious in all that he does. Mr. Rothman's impact on his students is legendary, and he works tirelessly to make sure that all of his students know they have an advocate in him. Always willing to help, Mr. Rothman brings a warm smile and a sense of humor to everything he does. He is a class act, and though his retirement signals the end of an era at Plainview Old Bethpage Middle School, the school community is forever changed for the better because of Mr. Rothman's influence. Jeff, we will all miss you, and we all wish you the best as you move on to the next chapter in your life. Congratulations on your retirement.
Good evening. Mrs. Patty Bailey started as an aide in Plainview Old Bethpage Middle School before moving to the kindergarten center where she worked for 3 years. For the last 9 years, Mrs. Bailey has been an aide with us at Old Bethpage Elementary School, working with students one-on-one. Mrs. Bailey has created unbelievably strong bonds with the students and their families through the years. She is well respected by staff and parents in the community and is loved beyond words by the students in the classes she's assigned. We are so sad to see her go, but at the end of the year, she is retiring to Bluffton, South Carolina to be with her children and her beautiful grandchildren. Best of luck, Mrs. Bailey, and congratulations on your retirement. We will miss you.
Good evening. Congratulations to all of our retirees tonight. I'm Suzanne Gray, the principal of Old Bethpage Elementary School, and tonight I am honored to be speaking on behalf of John Hammer, or Mr. John as our students like to call him. John started his career as a custodian in the Plainview Old Bethpage School District in the summer of 2002, and we were lucky enough to welcome him to Old Bethpage Elementary School after he transferred from POB Middle in the summer of 2018. His tenure here is ending, and it's far too soon for our liking, but our students, our parents, and our staff have been fortunate to have had him as an integral part of our community for the last 3 years. From the moment he walked through our doors in 2018, John has been a calming presence, a gentleman, and a beloved friend to all. He established strong relationships with the staff very quickly and demonstrated his impeccable work ethic from day one. His professionalism, his warmth, his knowledge, his flexibility and dependability are but a few of the ways in which John endeared himself to all of us. John was always a team player. He never hesitated to go above and beyond. He demonstrated this time and again, but it was especially evident during this most unusual and challenging school year. He worked tirelessly so that we could open and keep open our school doors for our students and staff. The appreciation we have for his efforts this past year cannot be overstated. He was essential to our school and to all of us in every imaginable way. John created strong bonds with our students. Whenever he entered a classroom, they would greet him with enthusiasm and love, and he in turn always took the time to answer their questions, have conversations, and show them that he cared about them. In addition to ensuring the safety, security, and cleanliness of the building, John always made it a point to support and enhance the day-to-day lives of our students and staff. I'm not sure that John fully comprehends the impact he had on all of us. Suffice to say, he will sincerely be missed. John Hammer set a model of excellence that will be his legacy, and he leaves behind very large shoes to fill. We know his wife and children, and especially his grandchildren, are looking forward to having their pop-pop all to themselves. Congratulations, Mr. John. We will miss you tremendously, and will always remember your friendship and your dedication to the OB community. We love you, and we celebrate you tonight.
Hey everybody, this is Jackie Herzog, running off to field day. It's so good here to celebrate Jacqueline Herzog's retirement. I'm standing outside of Pasadena on a great day for the PE department, field day. Of course, Jackie is entrenched in fun activities for the children, and you may see her running around the field organizing the event. Today I would like to talk about Jacqueline Herzog. She's a legacy. I say she's a legacy because her parents both worked at Plainview Old Bethpage.
We will not start yet. We're going to wait for every class to get to their station before we begin. We're going to let every class get to their station before again. You can wait and, listen to music.
Jackie is a legacy because I say that because both her parents worked here at the Plainview Old Bethpage School District as PE teachers too. Jackie followed in her family's footsteps by becoming a phys ed teacher. She was hired in our district in 1988. She is a PE teacher at Pasadena Elementary School, but has worked at Matlin Middle School and spent most of her career as a PE teacher at the Kindergarten Center. She is dedicated to all of her students and their fitness. She motivates them and has taught them skills for a lifetime of sportsmanship and athleticism. She has a wonderful way with students and they enjoy being in her class. She engages the children in each lesson. She makes learning fun and promotes an active lifestyle as a part of their lives. Jackie has such a positive attitude. She believes anyone can do what they set their mind to. In addition, she enforces practices.
Boys and girls, everybody over here.
She enforces practices so children of all ability levels have a successful experience. When needed, she also provides individual attention to every child that needs it. Jackie is a great team player on and off the field. She pitches in when needed in the building, whether it's at bus duty or in the classroom, Jackie helps out. Personally, Jackie has been a great friend. We have spent time talking about our lives and our parents and our hobbies. She was a go-to person for me when I needed a break from the day, and I will miss her for that. She will be truly missed by everyone at Pasadena, and we wish her all the best in her retirement. Good fortune and congratulations to you, Jackie.
Nancy Fehrenbach has been a long-standing member of the POB community. Her first experience here was as a student teacher, and she was then immediately hired. She served in the classroom with grades 2 and 4, and then moved into Math AIS 9 years ago. This year, she gracefully returned back to a 3rd grade classroom, rounding out her career at Stratford Road. Something that has always stood out for me is the calm and caring demeanor that is characteristic of Mrs. Fehrenbach. She has created a nurturing and safe place for her learners, encouraging all and giving the ultimate respect to each child's voice. Looking back to the first formal observation report she had, it clearly demonstrated her motivation for growth, as that observation highlighted incorporating learning centers into her classroom. Over my 16 years of working with Mrs. Fehrenbach, she has always been ready and willing to learn new programs, integrate technology, and fully support our school's goals as we constantly looked to enhance our craft. When Mrs. Ferenbach shifted to Math AIS, she quickly helped to restructure our goals, which were to look closely and support the foundational skills that students needed. But more importantly was the belief she had in her learners. In the book, The Dot, Peter Reynolds tells the story of a child and teacher. The child, feeling unsuccessful at being an artist, is encouraged by her teacher. Once the teacher gave respect to the child's work, the child opened up to self-expression and confidence. Nancy, you emulate this outlook as your teaching has not only centered on the academics, but also on building confidence as children began to make their marks in your room. Nancy, it is with much care and respect that I wish you the best as you enter the next part of your journey.
Good evening. It is my great pleasure to speak about Lisa Landau as she moves on to the next phase of her life. Over her tenure in the district, Ms. Landau has created a strong learning environment where she has motivated and inspired her students to work diligently on tasks that are not always easy for them. She is a reflective, lifelong learner, assuring that she has stayed aware of the latest occupational therapy research in order to meet the needs of her students. Mrs. Landau has been responsive to parents and their needs in making them partners to ensure growth in the children in supporting their academic success. She provided support services to her students' educational programs. The activities she has provided were intended to improve her students' ability to function within the school environment in the areas of self-help, schoolwork, and play. Throughout her years at POB, Ms. Landau has served her students with a high level of energy and a variety of strategies to motivate and engage them in curriculum-aligned occupational therapy activities. When entering the many small spaces Ms. Landau has worked in with her students, you would see smiles on the faces as they work on tasks that are difficult for them. She has provided ongoing consultation to the staff in each building she worked in over her career. The occupational therapy support and instruction will leave lasting impressions on her students. She has been an advocate of students as she's functioned on each school-based team. Her willingness to support and collaborate with her colleagues in meeting the fine motor and sensory needs of the students in her care has helped the students to meet with great success. One of her colleagues described her as a brilliant resource for all things related to school-based occupational therapy and an advocate for her students and one of the strongest people known. Even when life got in her way, she was sure to engage in ongoing communication to ensure student success. It is with great pleasure I wish Lisa Landau relaxation and enjoyment in the next phase of her life with her growing grand family. Lucy Padone is the epitome of dedication and devotion. Her behind-the-scenes work has had an everlasting impact on the special education programs and services provided in our district for over 30 years. She has been an asset in all our office in that she has her fingers in all aspects of PPS functioning. Her work ethic and commitment to the special education students and families is evident in her longevity and growing knowledge of special education programs throughout her tenure. Lucy welcomed in the original IEP as it became a part of the CSE process and made it her business to learn every aspect of the IEP direct functioning. In her role as senior account clerk, she has assisted in developing the budget, grant writing, and state reporting that has allowed PPS to make fiscally sound decisions. In addition, Mrs. Padone provided ongoing support to all of her colleagues, a true team player who supported numerous directors and assistant directors and clericals in our office during her tenure here. Truly an ongoing lifelong learner, Mrs. Padone ensures the complete and systematic accounting of records as they relate to state reporting and performs complex clerical and bookkeeping tasks. She's created a variety of systems and is kept knowledgeable on all aspects of special education regulation as they apply to the aspects of her job that ensure special education students' needs and those of their families. Over the last few years, it has been an ordeal for Ms. Padone to share the knowledge that she has grown to have as it relates to her integral role in our office. She demonstrates a thorough understanding of bookkeeping practices and procedures and the ability to train others in the accounting and IEP process. Her excellent organizational skills and attention to detail allows our office to meet with success in supporting the students in our care. I'm so excited to wish Lucy well in the next chapter of her life, as she will have more time with her family and for relaxation. I personally will miss her expertise and knowledge in all aspects of PPS.
Hi, I'm Rich Cunningham, Assistant Superintendent for Business.
And I'm Jen Segui, Assistant Business Administrator.
And we are here to wish Celeste Rosado congratulations on her retirement. Celeste began her career in Plainview Old Bethpage 20 years ago when she was a lead replacement in Plainview Old Bethpage Middle School beginning in September 2001. While she was working there, she already showed her business-related proficiency she had accumulated in her previous jobs, including working roughly 10 years at McGraw-Hill. At POBMS, she used Quicken to track transactions for the ECAF fund and was involved in grade reporting. She quickly became one of the friendly faces at the school. After subbing in Plainview Old Bethpage for some time, Celeste was appointed to her position in the business office in April 2003. She has been a mainstay in the office since that time. She is one of the first contacts any new employee makes in the district and continues to communicate with former staff members after their retirement from the district. We find that there are retirees who will make excuses just to come and visit Celeste, knowing that she is always looking out for them and will handle any questions or change of life issue that arises with professionalism, care, and kindness.
Professionally and personally, Celeste has been the heart of the business office. Because of her role with benefits, she's informed of almost everyone's life events, from marriages and birth announcements to retirements and loss of loved ones. She handles them all with kindness and grace. All of us in the business office are going to miss her and all of her stories about her kids, her 4 beautiful grandchildren, and her husband, Joe. Celeste, we wish you a long, healthy, and happy life beyond the time you shared with us here in POB. While we are sorry to see you go, we're happy for you as you move on to the next phase of your life. Congratulations, Celeste.
Good evening. Tonight we celebrate the retirement of Mr. Greg Cesny, principal of Judy Jacobs Parkway Elementary School. Mr. Cesny has been with the district for 25 years. He began his career at Parkway Elementary School as a first grade teacher in 1995. He then moved as a teacher to Plainview Bethpage's Middle School, became an assistant principal, and then principal of the Kindergarten Center, and came full circle, and now principal of Judy Jacobs Parkway Elementary School. A stroll through his personnel file reveals an educator who distinguished himself as a caring, intelligent, and creative professional. Comments from the committee that interviewed Mr. Cesny back in 1995 included he's personable and enthusiastic, articulate, he has creative ideas, and he should be a definite hold for first grade. This interview committee did not get it wrong. At the end of his first year of teaching, letters from parents highlighted the qualities we see regularly from Mr. Cesny. He is representative of what teaching personnel should be. He is a perfect blend of human and professionalism. My son looked forward to coming to school every day because of Mr. Cesny. At the end of his second year of teaching first grade, one parent wrote that Parkway is truly a very special place because of the dedicated professionals that take the time to show a deep care for children like Mr. Cesny does. His promotion to principal was no surprise to the community. In 2014-15, former Superintendent Dr. Lewis commended Mr. Cesny's leadership of the Kindergarten Center, noting that during the year of its closing, the building needed a courageous and thoughtful leader. 5 years later, Mr. Cesny, we needed a courageous and thoughtful leader. Leading a school during a pandemic needed so many things, but the qualities and attributes observed during your first interview in 1995 and developed throughout your 25-year career is exactly what we needed: a courageous, creative, and thoughtful leader who showed deep care for children, families, and colleagues. We know how you begin a career is as important to how you end a career. Greg, your leaving leaves a hole for our leadership team and the JJP family, and we will miss you. But true to who you are, you have developed another leader which has ensured your legacy will be taken care of, and Mrs. Clampett will light the way forward for the JJP family. Thank you for your service, Mr. Cesney. I wish you a retirement as rewarding as your distinguished career. Good evening.
Oh, okay. Dr. O'Meara?
Thank you. So congratulations to all of our retirees. Each of you have touched the lives of the children of our district, have left your mark on your colleagues, and I wish you the very best in your retirement, and I hope you get to celebrate it in the normal fashion we typically celebrate retirements. Thank you again for your service all.
Thank you. Ginger?
Yeah, I just really want to congratulate all the retirees since I hired most of them. It's a passing, but I want to say that everybody leaves a thumbprint when they leave a place. But with the quality of the people who are retiring, they've left a handprint, and it's going to be very difficult for people to fill that handprint. And I want to wish everybody the best of luck, and just that we've enjoyed having you, and to your new journey in life, may it be safe and filled with good health.
Thank you. Mrs. Melzer, are you out there someplace? Thank you. Yep, wherever the microphone is. Oh, she doesn't know. Yeah. You know what? While they're doing that, I'm going to read a recognition of retirement from Mrs. Barsky, President of POB PTA Council. Paula Barsky, President of POB PTA Council and its executive board, would like to congratulate all of you on your retirement. We wish this year's retirees a happy and joyful retirement full of things you like to do. So relax, travel, spend time with your family. Thank you for your dedication to the students of Plainview Old Bethpage throughout your years in the district. Please remember that good teachers and administrators are the reason why ordinary students dream to do extraordinary things. Your warmth and caring toward the students of POB was a vital element in their growth. Best wishes from all of us to all of you. Thank you, Paula. Nina? Oh, they're still.
I think we're good.
Yes, she is.
Okay. Good evening. On behalf of the PCT, I would like to congratulate our members who are celebrated tonight, as well as those who have retired over the past year. Tonight, we have a variety of members retiring in addition to our teachers. Our clericals, who, as we know, run the district, and some of those tonight in particular have helped us to keep our benefits straight, have organized us to no end. They really will have a lasting impact on the job that they have done, and they have very big shoes to fill, as well as our service providers, our OTs, PTs, who help provide support to a great number of our students. The pandemic has had an impact on us all in many different ways, and we commend our students and our community for their support and perseverance during this difficult time. To my luckily retiring colleagues, all of you have spent anywhere from 25 to 35 years here. When taken together, those years add up to over 3 centuries worth of time. I know that many of us feel that this year in and of itself was probably about a century's worth. In that time, you have worked with hundreds, if not thousands of students who will remember you, but more importantly, it is not the time that you have put in, it is the heart, compassion, and wisdom that you have provided. There is much experience and knowledge that will be impacted by your retirement. I say impacted and not lost, because as an educational professional, you not only taught your students, but you have mentored your colleagues. You shared your knowledge, skill, tips, and tricks with all of us. In the many years that you have been here, you have also formed many long-standing friendships. Many of you I know from your dedication to the PCT as long-standing building representatives and officers. You have known that in order to best meet the needs of our students, you needed to advocate for the conditions under which that they were taught. It is my hope that you will continue to remain active in this regard. As educators, we have gotten used to certain definitions for the terms that sometimes define our days. In your retirement, I want to offer you some different definitions for these terms. Observations. Instead of being observed, you will have the time to observe the world around you and take joy in a quiet moment or two. APPR now means always plan to play and relax. MLP for my learning plan should be changed to MRP, my retirement plan. Please make sure you register for a variety of fun activities, interests, hobbies, and travel, none of which needs to be pre-approved. ASOP will now go back to being the author of fables, and Frontline will gradually be recognized as the PBS News show. Infinite Campus should be completely forgotten, but if one must think of it, you should think of it from the perspective that your campus is now infinite and no longer bound by the academic grounds where you have worked for all these years. You will now have more free time to be a part of a campus that is immeasurable and boundless. Your world of family and interests should be your infinite campus. May your Google Meets be among friends, and may you zoom out of here into retirement. We cannot discuss education without discussing the past 16 months. I'm sure none of us could have foreseen what the impact of the pandemic would have on us. We know that we have worked 10 times as hard and yet had to adapt to a variety of instructional methods. But what you have also learned is that teaching does not end outside of the classroom doors. It is inherent in us. I know that all of you are always learning and will always be teaching in many other ways. Education, no matter what the contract says, is not limited by location or hours, days or years. It is limitless. I know that you will continue to educate and advocate. I hope the joy in your retirement is also equally limitless. And while I represent the PCT, I would like to congratulate all of the teachers, aides, custodians, and everyone that is retiring this evening. They all come together to make the educational experience a safe and nurturing one for all of our students. Thank you, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Nina. It's not often that I know so many of the retirees. However, tonight I do, and I'd like to congratulate all of you on behalf of the Board of Education and many of you on behalf of myself and my family. All of you have enriched and impacted the lives of so many students. When many of them look back on their years in the Plainview Old Bethpage School District, it will be through the lens of how you touched their lives and left your mark on their education and on their hearts. They will miss you, their parents will miss you, and we will miss you. Thank you for all you have given to our children and to our district. We wish you a retirement filled with good health, happiness, new adventures, and much time to enjoy all that life has to offer. And now we are going to go on to the reserve plan. Mr. Cunningham?
I'll bring this up on the screen share. I can move this out of the way. And as I'm bringing this up, I want to remind everybody that this is a presentation on potential maximum reserve levels. We never actually hit these maximum reserve levels, but these are the calculation of what could possibly be the maximums after we close our books. Our fiscal year ends June 30th, and we are already in the process of closing our books and preparing our financial statements. So I'm starting out by giving a bit of a history of our fund balance and reserve trends. The orange is our unappropriated fund balance. That's the 4% of fund balance going into this fiscal year. That represents about $6.5 million. We use that to really for cash flow basis and also for rainy days. And we certainly had them this year. But to give an idea of how this works in the revenue stream, $6.5 million gets us through about 1.5 payrolls. So it doesn't last us a month. But most of our revenue comes to the district in October and November in state aid and tax revenues, and then again in March and April. So we go through pretty long periods of time without getting revenues, and this helps smooth that that process so we don't have to borrow. The orange is the assigned fund balance, all right, the amount of revenue surplus that we take for 1 year and put into the next year's fiscal revenue stream. You can see that coming into 19 and 20, we increased that assigned fund balance, and that was by design. We knew we were going to be taking on more debt, putting it on top of existing debt, and we did that purposefully so that it wouldn't impact the taxpayers. Okay, so now that old debt is rolling off, we will see in future years that assigned fund balance will go down. And then the blue section is really what we're here to talk about tonight. All of our restricted reserves, the reserve for ERS, the TRS subfund, our EBLR reserve and capital reserves. And you can see that our trend is that the amount that we have in restricted reserves is decreasing because we are using them. The green line is showing the level of restricted reserves as a percentage of expenditures. So we can see that what we have really in our bank is decreasing as a percentage of our expenditures. I included a chart. I'm not going to read through all of this, but if you do a quick scan, you can see going from 2017 to 2020 in almost all categories, except for the unassigned fund balance, the amount of fund balance or in the levels of all of those reserves has decreased. The next slide just shows that again graphically. Each color represents one of our reserves or the unassigned fund balance. And other than unassigned fund balance, those levels have been decreasing as we go through the years. So the next few slides really just are our starting point, the closeout. It's a report of how much we had in our reserves at the end of last year. And then we make recommendations that go into the next fiscal year. So for example, on this slide, we're looking at the reserve for retirement contributions. That reserve is used to pay district expenses into the ERS or employee retirement systems. Our recommendation is always based on a 4-year computation. We had much more than that in that reserve in the early part of basically between the span of 2010 to 2015, and we have really drawn that down. Now we are well below that 4-year number. The TRS reserve was new 2 years ago. It's actually a sub-fund of the ERS reserve. The reserve for accrued employee benefits liability, we have also been drawing down. That is used to pay for post-employment benefits upon retirement. And we do have reserve for unemployment insurance. Just to remind you of some history of that, at the close of 1819, the board authorized a transfer of $1.2 million from the reserve for unemployment to the capital reserve fund. So we felt there was money in that reserve that really we could put to work on the behalf of the community. Then coming into last year, June of 2020, we were in the midst of COVID. We saw the potential unemployment liability go up. So we recommended that we increase that balance again. And we made a significant increase then up to $642,000. We're going to keep our eye on that over the next couple of years with the expectation or the hope that unemployment claims really level off going into June of 2022, and we will probably come back with a recommendation that perhaps we should put that money to use in another way. But for now, considering we're still, technically in a pandemic and we don't know what the future holds, we do not have that recommendation to draw that reserve down further because there may be future unemployment claims. We do have a repair reserve. We used it about 3 years ago. The people in the audience are sitting underneath part of that repair reserve project. We replaced the Atria skylights out of that. In order to increase the funding in this reserve, it would require a voter proposition to increase it back to its original funding level of $1 million. And we do have several capital reserves. Capital Reserve 1 has a balance of $192,000 in it. Capital Reserve 3 has a balance of $12,556. You'll notice There is no capital reserve 2. We actually spent all of that. And unfortunately, capital reserve 1 and capital reserve 3, we can only move that money out through voter authorization. We've completed those projects. So the long-term plan on those is the next time we establish a new capital reserve, we would ask voters to authorize the transfer of those funds remaining in those capital reserves into the new one. Our current active capital reserve 4, has a balance of $745,000. On this board meeting, there is a resolution in new business for the establishment of a reserve for tax reduction. It does not have an associated funding recommendation in it because all of the revenue that goes into this reserve will come from the proceeds of the sale of the Fern Place facility. We're hoping to close on that building in July, and our financials end at the close of June 30th, 2021. However, in preparation for the closing of that building, we are going to ask the board for consideration to establish the reserve for tax reduction. That's really where legally all the proceeds of the sale must go. We can't put it into any place else, nor can we simply appropriate it to fund balance. Something that we're very proud of, a couple of weeks ago, Standards & Poor's did a rating, a new rating of the district finances. This was in part driven by the district going out for the last part of our debt related to the 2014 bond, and we were able to achieve a AAA bond rating in a very difficult market. Coming out of a COVID year, a very tight municipal market, and there's some highlights to this report, which we will be posting on the website now that it's public, that they recognize the advanced management team with proactive forward-looking planning strategies. They noted the district is deliberate in its management and use of reserves with formalized practices to allow for their appropriation subject to voter approval and board approval. They also noted that the use of reserves follows a formalized process which require voter approval, which the district has successfully garnered for various projects over the last 4 years. So they're referring to the capital reserves there. They also note that board reviews the allocations for the district surplus to reserves every year and affirms the annual reserve plan. And that is what we are here to do tonight. One thing they note on a downside scenario, they say the outlook is stable, but the downside scenario is they could lower the rating if the district reserves weaken following sustained deterioration of operating performance, leading to material draws on reserves. And if you go back to the original part of the presentation, the first few charts, they did see that downward trend in reserves, and they were looking for that plan to make sure that the reserves don't decrease any further in order to keep that AAA bond rating. Subsequent to this bond rating, we did sell those bonds, and for a 15-year note of $4.5 million, we will be paying 1.533% interest. You can't get a mortgage for that. We really hit the market well, and there was active bidding based on that security. To give you an idea of what that means, if we had a single A bond rating, the basis it would probably be a 50 basis points or 0.5% higher charge, which would have represent an increase of $240,000 in interest over that 15-year note. So we present a recommendation for the maximum reserve levels. We know that we won't achieve these, but in our calculations, you can run down the list. The 4-year calculation for the ERS reserve is roughly $1.1 million. There is a straight equation for how we arrive at the TRS sub-fund not to exceed maximum of 3.867, where that is based on adding 2% of the previous year's TRS payroll. The employee benefit accrued liability is at $9 million. Really, that is based on a rather mythical assumption that everybody would depart the district at the same time we would close our doors. We know that's not going to happen, but really that's how that calculation is arrived at. I discussed the unemployment reserves, the repair reserves, and the capital reserves, and also noted that we're asking for the establishment of the reserve for tax reduction, but no further action on that. With that, are there any questions?
Not a question, but a statement. Just kudos and thank you to Rich and the administration and the prior boards for maintaining that AAA bond rating. You know, it was one thing to have it before we had a bond, but to maintain it all the way through the bond when we actually had to go out for financing probably saved the district millions of dollars over the course of that bond. So great job and great reserve plan, and thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Seth?
The capital reserve fund from 2017. I know that the maximum recommendation is not to exceed 3 million. My recollection was a $25 million total bond that the voters approved.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming we can get to the 3 million now, do we have a sense of what remains left of that bucket to fill?
Yes, let me pull that up. I'm sorry, I don't have it right in front of me. Stand by. Okay, as of June 30th, we had appropriated $16.1 million into the reserve. So
As of June 30th last year.
Of last year. So let's call it $9 million.
And right now we're at about 750,000. So the recommendation is maximum a little bit more than about 2.25 million, which still leaves, if we were able to fill it,
Mhm.
still leaves a good 6 million. and
So
change.
the way we asked voters to authorize the funding of that reserve was over a 7-year period. And we started that in May of 2017. So that gives us kind of until May 2024 to hit that $25 million mark. The reason why we came up with that $3 million number is we know we can't do more coming out of this year. We didn't want to present something that was unrealistic because we use that funding level to help plan the recommendation for a capital reserve proposition for the next year. So we want to come in with something that's realistic, that would be consistent with projects that we find in our building condition survey, which we'll have to give you information on, and also that are achievable in kind of a construction cycle. We've seen the difficulty of trying to do $10 million or more work in a single year does. It's hard. And many of the projects, since you were able to do so many projects successfully in the bond, many of the projects are very intrusive. So they really have to start getting knocked off during the summer. So we kind of limited our recommendation on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham, and thank you to your entire department. Thanks so much. And now we're going to go to the revision to reopening plan, outside guests at moving up ceremonies and end of the year events. Dr. O'Meara?
This is a simple one. When we've made any adjustments to our reopening plan based on new guidance, we've come to the board to explain that. In our reopening plan and in our discussions with our reopening committee, we didn't allow outside guests to come to any of our indoor events. But now with moving up ceremonies around the corner and year-end events, we are recommending that we revise our POB reopening plan to permit outside guests to attend the indoor and outdoor moving up ceremonies and year-end school events, as per the latest guidance set out by the governor on June 7th.
Great, thank you. And unless somebody has anything to ask, or we will be voting on that during new business. Thank you, Ginger. Okay, we're going to go on to public participation. Let me just get my sheet. District policy number 1230 provides that persons wishing to make comments or raise questions shall, 1, provide their name and address in writing to the district clerk, and provide your name and indicate on whose behalf they are speaking if a non-resident. The public prohibits public discussion on matters relating to staff and students at which their reputation, privacy, or rights to due process or those of others could in some way be violated. As a reminder, a video recording of this meeting, including public participation, is being made and will be posted on the district website. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes. We thank you in advance for being respectful of other speakers, the Board of Education, and all staff members. I would like to remind everyone that the purpose of public participation is not to engage in discussion, but rather to receive input from the public. If questions are asked, they will be responded to by a district administrator directly with the individual within a reasonable time frame following the meeting, and/or will be responded to at the next board meeting. The floor is now open.
Good evening. Cheryl Dender. I want to congratulate all of our retirees tonight. It's hard for me to believe how many of you have impacted my 3 children's lives and have truly left a mark on who they became as adults, contributing to society, and who they became as professionals. In your retirement, enjoy every day, knowing that your unique contributions to students doesn't end when you leave the district, because what you have imparted lives on in all of our current students and our alumni. Relax, travel, and enjoy all the time off with your family and friends. Congratulations.
Thank you, Cheryl.
This is Jock Wolfner.
Hi, Mr. Wolfner.
Good evening. I just want to recognize the administration and the board for having had a very difficult and challenging time to operate the schools this past year with COVID and with all the health challenges. And I want to take this time just to recognize all of you for the hard work and for the successes that you have achieved. And I wish you all a good summer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wolfner, and we wish you the same.
Good evening, board. Dr. O'Mara. My name is Craig Shapiro, my wife, Beth Shapiro. We are neighbors right behind POB High School. On the 10th of June, I wrote Dr. O'Mara a letter about the softball situation we have going on that are hidden our house on a daily basis. Any and every day, somebody is playing softball. It's damaged our solar panels and nearly hit us, family members, animals. It's starting to get very dangerous. I know previously you have extended and enlarged the ball field backstop, but it's not working. And we've tried to get in touch with Dr. Joe Braco over the past couple of years, and it really hasn't gotten anywhere. So I've reached out to Dr. O'Mara on the 10th, and she said she would hopefully get back to me the next day. But here it is, you know, almost 2 weeks later, multiple emails, and it's going to be, like I said, a little bit dangerous is what it comes down to. And we need to come up to some sort of resolution, because somebody is going to get hurt, and I am already experiencing property damage.
Thank you. Dr. O'Meara would like to.
Hi, Mr. Shapiro. Yes, we are looking into that with our facilities director, that they're looking at appropriate equipment to put behind there. I believe Mr. Cunningham has been in contact with you or someone from our facilities office.
No.
If that hasn't been the case, I'll get back to you tomorrow morning on that.
Be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, sorry about that, Mr. Shapiro.
Yeah, I know you guys are, busy graduating and everything, but, if you can tell someone you're going to come back to me tomorrow, please come back to me tomorrow. Yep. I mean, if our students tell us this, we got to be, good, representatives to our kids as well. So
you're absolutely right.
Follow through.
We will absolutely get in touch with you tomorrow. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hello, Sydney Chaikin. So a big concern that for my family is that in 11 short weeks, we will be starting the 21-22 school year. And I'm wondering what this will look like for my third grader as he enters his third year of school, another year that may possibly still be affected by restrictions. So for families like mine who across New York are demanding a choice to make decisions for their own children in regards to mask mandates, and also what I fear and believe is coming, vaccine mandates. We feel that we deserve to know what parameters, data, numbers you will be looking at if it comes down to local districts being granted the authority to make individual plans for things such as masks and distancing. I feel that if right now at 2 cases per 100,000 and the positivity rate of less than 0.5%, and we still have school children masked, then what gives? What's it going to take to get our choices back? And then when I hear comments about having to protect our vulnerable student population, I don't know what percentage that is of students. I hear that and I understand that as a concern, but I also know that children by and large are having mild symptoms and they're recovering. I know that their mortality rate is 0.025%. And for comparison, suicide for children is 2.6%. Cancer is 1.8. The flu is 0.3. Unintentional accidents such as drowning and car accidents, 3.5. COVID is 0.025%. 35 states have lifted the mask mandates in schools. In New York, 2 to 5-year-olds in daycare settings have had the choice to not have masks and not distance, and there haven't been outbreaks. Maybe we can request the daycare data in Nassau County when we start looking at making decisions if it comes down to that. But it's an irrefutable fact at this point that transmission is rarely happening in schools and of course outside of schools. The vaccine is readily available for every teacher and educator in this country, and it begs the question, why are we still having our children bear the burden of this disease for a moment longer? Our children have been asked to sacrifice for the greater good and protect those that are vulnerable. They have been kept home from school, isolated, prevented from playing sports and having play dates, and asked to wear masks all day long. Children require social interaction with their peers. They need to converse, interact, and experience bodily and facial expressions to develop and grow socially. This has been taken from them with these continued mask mandates. America has seen increased rates of suicide, depression, and drug abuse during this pandemic. Long-term mask use has strong potential for devastating health consequences. The CDC can put out whatever irresponsible guidelines they want, but however, they are just guidelines. The CDC is not taking care of our children, and our children don't have the voice to speak out for themselves. We need leaders who will step up and speak out and advocate for our children when the government clearly won't. It's time to let parents decide what is best for their children. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O'Meara.
Thank you, Ms. Chaikin. Thank you for the statistics. I just want to remind you and anyone else who's listening that this is not a board decision. As late as June 7th, more guidance was issued, and I'll read from it. Face masks are required at all times indoor school facilities except for meals. This is not a board decision. And I know this is the only organization that is giving a voice to the public right now. Governor Cuomo is not hosting town halls. Laura Curran is hosting rallies. I'm telling you now, coming to a board meeting, asking the board to advocate for a change in state regulation is really not going to help. The parents need to speak to our state officials about the state guidance we are required under the commissioner's regulations and the governor's executive orders to follow. So as of right now, we don't have any guidance for reopening schools in September, except for the latest June 7th. So I'm sorry, and I know it's terribly frustrating to come week after week to a board meeting to a governing body that cannot change state mandates.
Thank you, Dr. O'Meara.
Hi, my name is Ia, and first of all, I wanted to thank the board members. It has been a challenging year, and I know that it was not an easy year, not only for parents and kids, but also for you, because, you know, for you and for teachers, for the school district. And I think that with all the ups and downs, it was still a successful year for us. And I just wanted to thank Superintendent as well. And I think it was, given the circumstances, was a good year. I wanted to ask a follow-up question. As I understand that, you know, obviously state mandates and schools abide by state mandates. If and when there is a room for a school district to decide, let's say before September, will there be a Board of Education meeting? Again, I'm not talking about the mandates, but if there is like a room, let's say for outside, you know, like we decided outside, we were permitting children not to wear masks, right? So if there is a room, will there be a Board of Education meeting, and will there be discussion with parents to hear the opinions and voices? And that's all. Thank you so much.
Sure, and thank you. It would go to our reopening committee, and then it would come to the board to discuss. So yes, there will be discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other people at the mic, and there were no Ask the Superintendent questions. Public participation is now closed. We appreciate your questions and consider your input. Thank you. And now can I have a motion for routine business? Ginger, second. Tara, any hold separation discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Dr. Molieri?
Thank you, Ms. Bernstein. By action of the Board of Education this evening, they have appointed several people to positions in the Plainview-Bethpage School District, and I'd like to announce them now. Ms. Lori Charletta, who was just recognized on the occasion of her retirement, has just been appointed as our Senior Citizen Club Advisor.
So welcome back.
Welcome back. It wasn't long. Was here. I don't know if she's still out there. We've also appointed two new special education teachers, Miss Amy Dweck, Matlin Middle School, and Miss Melissa Marquez, going full-time at Stratford Road. So they are full-time teachers with us. We've appointed Victoria Fabrizio as a leave replacement math teacher at the high school next year. And we have a number of part-time teachers, some of them coming back to us and one of them new, that will be with us for next year. Miss Catherine Honig will be teaching part-time physical education and health. Carolyn Talone is coming back as a part-time librarian. Janice Pfeiffer is a part-time special ed person at Old Bethpage. Lynn Holland, part-time art, and Debbie Goldmeyer, part-time American Sign Language. So congratulations to all of those. We have one final appointment tonight. By action of the board, they've appointed Ms. Kristen Durante, Assistant Director for PPS at the middle school level. So congratulations to all the appointees this evening.
Thank you and welcome to everyone. And we look forward to great things from you. Thank you very much. And now we will go on to new business. May I have a motion for 11.1 approval of revision to reopening plan? Ginger, second. Seth, any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. A motion for the recommendation to establish a tax reduction reserve for the proceeds from the sale of the Fern Place building. Seth, second. Gary, discussion. All those in favor? A motion for 11.3, recommendation to reaffirm and approve the district reserve fund plan. Seth, second. Susan, discussion. All those in favor? A motion for 11.4, approval of terms and conditions for the confidentials for the 2021-2022 school year. Ginger, second. Tara. All those in favor? A motion for 11.5, approval of resolution for stipulation of settlement and general release for student identified and confidential Schedule A. Seth, second. Ginger. All those in favor? A motion for 11.6, approval of 2 exchange students, one from France and one from Estonia. Susan, second. Ginger. All those in favor? And finally, 11.7, may I have a motion for the approval of additional curriculum writing proposal? Seth, second. Susan. All those in favor? Oh, discussion? Okay.
So I do definitely like the curriculum proposals that we have here, but I was wondering if I don't know if it could be within the career clinic or even with the college tour through guidance. Can we entertain some non-traditional career pathways that not everyone will be necessarily going to colleges? And if we could do some more vocational or health related, I know we have some of those curriculums going forward. And also, is there a place where we can put financial literacy? It doesn't matter where our students are going. They're going to need to learn about interest rates. They're going to need to learn about financial statements. And we do a lot of great things with social emotional learning, but these are, when we've talked about adulting classes, financial statements, interest, understanding a loan, student loans, business loans is needed. And what is a credit score? What's a checkbook? So if it's possible, I don't know if it can be put into these particular projects, or if some of the other ones that we looked at, we've approved in earlier this year. But I really would like that to happen for going forward. So
you must have been speaking to our curriculum committee, because that was the reason for these additional hours, not the financial literacy, but the different career pathways. You know, we have been in the past couple of years been adding CTE approved pathways that don't necessarily lead students to a profession, but it opens their eyes to all the careers related to that area of study, such as business and entrepreneurship, early childhood education, not necessarily a teacher, but there are a lot of other jobs in education. So the PTA high school curriculum committee said, could we do a better job at showing the kids earlier those pathways? So that's the point of that curriculum project. The financial literacy, I would like first to reach out to our department chair people and see where that lives in their different courses. I know it touches on it in certain business courses and certain math courses. And if you're feeling as if that's not comprehensive enough or touching enough students, that would be something I would bring to the curriculum committee at the high school level.
I know we do have financial literacy as an elective, but as you just said, I don't think it's touching every student that leaves here. And it really doesn't matter what career path they're going on. Yep. College, military, vocational, everyone has to eventually learn how to do these things. So,
yeah. Did I see your hand up?
I think Susan's spot on with this. And I think when you think about health and social emotional, financial pressures and not understanding finance is a major cause of stress in American families. And I think every child who comes to a high school system should get some level of financial literacy. And there's things we work into curriculums we make sure every child gets. It shouldn't be an elective that only those who have the availability in their schedule have. Every kid should know about things like interest rates, credit card debt, how to apply for alone, what's involved in this stuff. I'm not saying it's a full course either, but even if you gave them a month of financial literacy, it would be a lot more than they're getting now. And having young adult kids and being a finance person, I can tell you, these kids need it.
And also there's a full unit of financial literacy in ECHO. So that does reach all of our seniors. But if you want to see more details about what is actually taught, that's easy to get at.
Okay, thank you. So on the motion, all those in favor? Thank you. May I have a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing specific personnel and to obtain legal advice from district counsel? Tara, second Seth, all those in favor? Thank you. And thank you for joining us this evening. And we wish you a safe and relaxing summer.